But of course, when you get that type of experience and confidence, you start to really believe in yourself. This jersey, for many players out there, is incredibly heavy, but Jude's making it look easy.
Two midfielders who have lit up La Liga this season with their performances for Barcelona and Real Madrid. Both of them have been brilliant. I have to say, when you look purely at the stats, it's Jude Bellingham who just edges it. 41 matches versus 45 for Pedri. Bellingham's got 13 goals compared to 5, 11 assists compared to 7 as well. And he is slightly younger, just a few months younger at 21 versus 22. Let's focus on Jude Bellingham first. Here's Phil Kitramilides on what he's given to Real Madrid in the last 2 seasons.
The last season for Jude Bellingham was absolutely extraordinary. It was historic. I've never seen a player have such big an impact in their debut season at Real Madrid, let alone a midfielder. In terms of his numbers, historic numbers, 23 goals and 13 assists in all competitions. That was amazing. And this season, he's been really good as well. His numbers are still very impressive. 24 goal involvements this season. Only Vini and Mbappe have more. And the number of meters he's covered at high intensity is more than anyone else in this Real Madrid team. And in a Real Madrid team where a few people don't run that much, I'm looking at you, Vinicius and Mbappe, certainly defensively, Bellingham is covering them and covering those meters, and you see him making those sprints late on in games. He's the one pushing forward, he's the one tracking back, so he's been kind of a leader for this Real Madrid team. As we said, 13 goals in all competitions this season is a really decent number, and in La Liga, without his goals, they would have 5 points less, Real Madrid. They'd be 8 points behind Barcelona, and it really would be game over. So it's been really impressive from Jude Bellingham. But I have to say this again, and I'd forgotten before quickly researching to speak to you guys. He's still 21. He is still 21. So we're seeing him impact this team directly, the biggest team in the world. We're seeing him lead them in many games. And he's still just 21. Sprinting, scoring, leading. It's been a great season for Jude Bellingham.
I have to agree with Phil there, considering the age of Jude Bellingham and how much of a complete midfielder he is at this stage of his career.
Yes, I agree 100%. I think what we're recognising and what we're witnessing from Jude Bellingham is he's actually getting better as well. And he's been around the game since he was a kid. I mean, a teenager, he was playing professional football. All of a sudden, the statistics just continue to get better and better and better. His goal scoring, I mean, since he's arrived at Real Madrid, that is realistically, I can't believe that. I mean, 36 goals and 24 assists since he's arrived. He's a midfielder. So the fact that this guy's managing to emulate, obviously, players who have been in that jersey before and maybe make his own history is remarkable. And he did so in the first season already. So the statistics speak for themselves. What he's doing in that Real Madrid jersey is really sensational. It's fun to watch. He's getting better and better as he goes on. Even though I will say this, though, this season has been a little bit of a step backwards as far as output, as far as the statistics go. I think it's 28 goal involvements between club and country. That's good, but last season was ridiculous. And I think he's obviously looked a little bit fatigued from the Euros as well.
And with the goals, you can draw comparisons between a player like Frank Lampard, who was a great central midfielder, but got forward with assists and goals as well.
Love that.
The other thing for Jude Bellingham is what we see in the contribution in terms of leadership and in-game management as well. He is, despite being 21, as Phil said there, he's able to contribute to this team with more than just his feet.
Yeah, I mean, what we're recognising, obviously, this is someone who, as a leader, and remember, go back to the Borussia Dortmund days, he was chasing that Bundesliga title. They actually gave him the captain's armband at 19 years old. I don't think there's ever been a 19-year-old player ever captain Borussia Dortmund before. So the fact that they gave him meant that they believed him. Then all of a sudden you move to Real Madrid. The goals speak for themselves, obviously. But I love the fact that he's leading by example. It's not necessarily what you see him communicate to his teammates, that spirit of let's go, that passion of driving everybody forward. Sometimes you have to recognise when you're playing in a Coliseum like the Bernabeu or wherever they're playing, you can't hear each other easily. So you've got to communicate sometimes by doing your speaking out there on the pitch. So your movement, the way you obviously are physically active, the energy that you're putting out there for the players around you to recognize that you mean business, you're trying to drive this team forward. And it always ends up in Jude Bellingham arriving into the box and getting a goal, assisting a teammate. His statistics are clearly evident. We recognize that. But we're trying to separate what makes him better from previous players who have played in that jersey before. Now, you mentioned Frank Lampard. That's great, because Frank's goals were sensational. I didn't quite expect to see Jude Bellingham score in the way he has done when he was playing for Borussia Dortmund, or even when he was playing for Birmingham City before that. I didn't quite see that player. But of course, when you get that type of experience and confidence, you start to really believe in yourself. This jersey, for many players out there, is incredibly heavy. But Jude's making it look easy.
He certainly is. Let's turn our attentions to Pedri now. Here's Guillem Balaguer with more on the Barcelona midfielder.
There are players that you want to pay a ticket to see, and others that are efficient, and others that are so influential that the teams cannot do without them, either with the ball or without the ball. There is no many that have got all that in one. And Pedri is that kind of midfielder. In my eyes, the best in the world. And I'm sure there are players that, from the middle, score more goals or give more assists. But the influential of Pedri, who is the best recovery of the ball for Barcelona, who is top 3 in assists for Barcelona, who perhaps doesn't score as much as he should, but who's so elegant, that combination makes watching Pedri right now one of the most pleasurable things that you can have in football. And how did he get there? Because there was a time where he actually got injured too often. He couldn't get the right rhythm to be influential, not just in a game or in a moment, but throughout the season. Well, they do that biopsy. Barcelona did a biopsy of his muscles and realized that rest is not what he needs. He's got to play. And the more he plays, the better he becomes, and the more resistant he is to everything that a football game throws to you physically. And now, he's been doing a lot of gym as well. He's a body that has got resilience, that has got the tempo that you require to get Barcelona to do the quick transitions when they have to control. He's got the ability to do that. He's just the perfect midfielder in the best form of his career. And that's why, in my eyes, he's the best midfielder in the world right now.
We said the numbers are better for Bellingham, but still brilliant stats for Pedri this season. And then it's the likes of Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski who get most of the headlines for Barcelona. Do you think he gets enough credit for his contribution in this team?
Not at all. He doesn't get spoken about enough. He obviously doesn't necessarily want that in his life. He is someone who quietly goes about his business. People would call him the silent assassin because of what he does and how important he is for Barcelona in that midfield. I love what Guillem said right there, obviously being the best midfielder in the world, because many people believe he actually is the best fielder in the world. And in my personal opinion, Pedri believes that he's the best midfielder in the world, and he's confident enough to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and pull his team with him. Now, the statistics simply don't lie, and I know we talk about goals and assists and what Jude Bellingham's done in particular, but when you focus on Pedri, he has a lot of goal scorers around him who are grabbing all the headlines and certainly grabbing the statistics. But what this guy does, especially in possession of the ball, is exceptional. He has 1,141 passes into the opposition half. That is leading by any midfielder by 300. I think Valverde's on 800 for passes into the opposition half from your own half. Into the final third, it's 611. He leads La Liga there as well. So nobody's going to talk about those type of statistics because they're simply not sexy enough. But what that means to Barcelona is you're turning the game from defense into offense. That transition game, you need to have that middle piece, the player that links the ball from the goalkeeper, the midfield, into attack. Who's doing that? No one's getting the assist for the pass onto the winger who assists then the goal scorer. So therefore, it's a quiet bit of business that he does. But my, oh my, if you're looking at a car engine, this guy is absolutely it for Barcelona. One of the most dangerous players in world football right now, full stop.
Yeah, he's the glue that sticks together that Barcelona team. If you were only allowed to pick one, who would you go for?
I knew you were going to ask this question, and I find it very difficult because they're not necessarily the same type of player, right? Pedri, I would consider a number 8 who quietly is that link-up player going from one player to another. Jude Bellingham, I would link the word chaos with Jude Bellingham as a midfielder. He transitions from defense to attack immensely sharp, and he's obviously one who loves to rant forward and try to get himself into a position where he can score a goal as well. You're not going to see that from Pedri. Pedri's the one who gets the ball and does the business in possession of the ball and creates the opening for the player who's then going to get the assist. So therefore, they're two different players completely. But if you're asking me to pick one, how can you pick one of these players? I would have both of them in my team. Right now, I would debate whether or not Jude Bellingham is the best player in the world. Statistically so, yes, with goals and assists, of course. People out there will make that argument. I understand that Madridistas out there will say that there's only one Jude Bellingham, no one compares to him. But if you look at the job that Pedri does for Barcelona, no one in world football is doing a job like that. He does doesn't want all the headlines. What he's quietly doing is he's doing his business, he's doing his job, and he's doing it in an emphatic fashion, in possession of the ball, rarely ever loses the ball, whereas the chaos side of things with Jude Bellingham will always grab the headlines. The celebration, the grabbing the areas of your body you probably shouldn't when you celebrate as well. I think Pedri's quite the opposite as a human being. He doesn't want the headlines. He wants to win the trophies and do it in a quiet fashion. So it's hard not to want a player like that in your team. So I'm basically not giving you an answer by giving you an answer.
I think if we had this chat last season, you would have gone towards Bellingham, wouldn't you? But this season, it's very, very hard to call between the two.
Who would you go for?
I think because of the contribution, something we spoke about earlier on, the contribution you get from Bellingham, the leadership qualities, that also has an impact for me. You don't get as much of that from Pedri. And so for me, maybe I'm biased because I'm an Englishman, but I'm siding towards Bellingham. But I think for me, I hope that they both stay fit till the end of the season, and that, you know, that title race and the other games we're going to see between Real Madrid and Barcelona will be brilliant with both of them on the pitch.
Do you know what? I think it's a great debate, and I think a lot of people out there should join in the debate as well, Adam, because realistically, there's no easy decision here. There's no right or wrong. I just would love to see where the fans, the viewers, would favour which player, who's better right now in world football. For me, I would take both of them. I can't really pick one of them at all.